Good afternoon. I am Donna Williams, Chief Audience Development Officer. Chief Audience Development Officer at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. This luncheon is produced by the Multicultural Audience Development Initiative and the Costume Institute, a perfect partnership. I want to thank the Multicultural Audience Development Advisory Committee, our host committee, and especially our co-hosts, Oscar de la Renta and Stephen Burrows. As a museum, we celebrate the rich tapestries of our culture through art. And in pursuit of that goal, for the past 3 years, the Multicultural Audience Development Initiative and the Costume Institute have applauded the accomplishments and the achievements of those in the fashion world who have paved the way and inspired many. Arthur McGee, Eunice Johnson, and now the models of Versailles. Billie Blair, Alva Chinn, Pat Cleveland, Norma Jean Darden, Charlene Dash, Bethann Hardison, Barbara Jackson, Sheena Machado, Ramona Saunders, and Amina Warsuma are those wonderful models. And actually, you'll get a chance to get to know them a little bit more as our President Emily Rafferty will introduce them to you. All of us salute these giants whose shoulders we stand on. And now, let's begin. May I introduce to you the director of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Thomas Campbell.
Good afternoon. It's a great pleasure to welcome all of you here today for this remarkable tribute to the models of the Versailles fashion show of 1973. 8 of the legendary models who brought such stunning and fearless energy to that runway 38 years ago are here to help us celebrate the historic moment in Paris. There is little documentation of the actual event in Versailles, but in the annals of the fashion world, it was defining, a classic tale of the heroic underdog overpowering the established champion. I especially liked the tongue-in-cheek comment in quote in last week's New York Times from CZ Guest that not since Eisenhower have the Americans had such a triumph in France. Yet while it remains a tale of victory for American fashion, this story, equally more importantly, marks the inception of a more diverse vision of our world. It's a story that might otherwise be lost to history without a moment like this, to recognize the impact and resonance it had on our culture. Thank you to all who have come out today to honor these extraordinary women and that moment. Those of you who have supported a more multifaceted view of fashion have assured a growing, changing, and literally more colorful ideal of beauty every day, every year since 1973. And it is my hope that programs like the Met's Multicultural Audience Development Initiative also encourage new strides for people of color in the world of art and of fashion. The models of Versailles showcase the work of 5 great American fashion designers, and we are honored to have 2 of these outstanding designers with us today, Oscar de la Renta and Stephen Burrows. We will hear their story firsthand after lunch, but now it's my great pleasure to introduce Harold Coder, curator in charge of the Costume Institute, and to wish you all a really enjoyable lunch. And it is cold in here. I'll tell you, the one place that's colder is my office. So enjoy the occasion, enjoy the wine. Thank you for being here. Harold.
Welcome, everyone. In 1993, the Costume Institute held an exhibition which, focused on the events of Versailles that had occurred 20 years earlier. It was an event, an evening, that celebrated a competition, a friendly competition between 5 French designers and 5 American designers. The Americans were Stephen Burrows, Billie Blair, Oscar de la Renta, Halston, and Anne Klein. By all accounts, this one evening established the primacy of American fashion on the world stage. In our research, however, of the events, one thing, a smaller story, but with incredible cultural impact, also began to emerge. When we spoke to Tom Fallon from Billie Blair, to Donna Karan, who was an assistant at the time for Anne Klein, to Oscar, to Charles Tracy, the photographer, and to Stephen, all of them acknowledged the participation and gave credit to, the lion's share credit to, the African American and models that had shown the American clothes. Billie, Jennifer Brice, Alva, Pat, Norma Jean, Bethann, Barbara, China, Machado, Ramona, and Amina represented the diversity of American fashion that night. They introduced a dynamic, a seductively choreographed newness to the presentation of fashion. Directed by Kay Thompson and supported by Liza Minnelli, they created a breathtaking and dramatic presentation of the most relaxed and modern clothes that the French had seen. They brought through their personal charisma an enlivenment of the clothes that was unprecedented and electrified the audience. Because everyone is having such a good time table hopping, I've been told that we have to get on with the programming. In the next phase, we have the privilege of having 2 of the designers who were part of the remarkable Versailles evening, who will come up and give us a few anecdotes about what it was like behind the scenes. One of the things that was interesting to us as we were doing our research was that so much of what happened was never in the press and was only really through the oral history of the people who had participated. And so I'd like to introduce Oscar de la Renta and Stephen Burrows up to the podium.
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, Oscar. How are you? Come up.
You know, I have to put the zipper in my mouth because my wife doesn't want really me to say anything. But, you know, when we talk about Versailles, it's sort of a little bit like Rashomon.
Yes.
Everyone has a different version of what happened at Versailles.
Right.
And so I think that we should call, though, she was not really, everybody asked me all the time, was Donna Karan there or wasn't she there? And I said, yes, I do remember that Donna Karan was there because she was very pregnant. So Donna, will you come and join us here?
Can she get up here?
You know, what happened in Versailles was really quite extraordinary, except that at the time, none of us realized what Versailles eventually was going to mean. Come in.
I was the child.
You were a child.
I'm still a child.
You're still a child. Do you want to go first? Or what do you?
Oh, baby. I was the witnesser. I was the viewer. They're very largely pregnant. Oh, it's okay.
What they say?
You want to speak?
No.
Okay. I would say that Versailles for me was probably the most important education of my design career and probably the most exciting moment in my life. I don't think a moment comes when anybody asks me, you know, what was your highlight of your life? And I would have to say Versailles, and it was because of these 2 gentlemen who, what an honor to be a part of it. And I was just an assistant, very pregnant at that. But all I can say is that what Versailles did was truly put the American standard on the map. The French were blown away. But it wasn't the designers they were blown away by. Had nothing to do with us. We just clothed them. You know what I mean? It was the girl sitting in this room, and I look at her right now. I was a dresser at Versailles. That's my role. So I dressed Billie Jean. We stood on the outside of that runway, and she had to go on the stage with one hand, and no, off the stage with one hand and on the stage with another. So the key to that was layering the girls with clothes. But it was a moment in life that you could never forget. And I don't think anything in fashion, and from Oscar, who really was the master, and always will be, and always is, the one with the heart and soul, who puts us all together. It's not about them, her, him, us, but it's with Oscar's heart as president of CFDA and as a designer and a mentor to me. And it's an honor for me to be standing next to Oscar and Stephen and all the girls sitting here in this room. I see fashion will never be the same. And Versailles was the birth of what I consider American fashion. But that was through my lens. So with that, I'm going to give the more experienced designers here an opportunity for you to share what fashion was all about in Versailles. Thank you, Oscar.
May I talk first?
Yes, of course.
You know, I think that what is important to say about Versailles is that it's an extraordinary sort of good luck that we succeeded in the way that we succeeded, because our show originally was bound for disaster. First of all, because we were going to be showing this beautiful space, which is the theater at Versailles, and we needed sets. Joe Eula, who was in charge of creating all the sets for the American presentation, went to Paris 3 or 4 weeks before the actual presentation to take all the measurements and prepare for the sets. Something happened in the translation. And when we arrived in Paris, the measurements had been taken in inches and they gave him centimeters. So everything was hanging 10 feet above the ground. So we could not use absolutely anything of what was prepared originally for the show. The French had unbelievable presentations. They were, Pierre Cardin has a Sputnik going into, Yves Saint Laurent had Zizi Jamais in a white Cadillac singing Je cherche un millionnaire. I mean, Josephine Baker was part of the French contingent, though, with the strippers, that's right. Anyway, all of them were really but there was no cohesiveness to the presentation. What was wonderful is that we were 5 designers, and for a very short time, we're all one, you know? And what happened, really, and Donna already said, but I want to repeat it again. You know, because I have worked in Paris before, in Paris, fashion shows were always about showing clothes, and the girls would walk out with a little number in their hand. And that was how presentations were made in Paris, until Versailles. At Versailles, we had these unbelievably extraordinary, beautiful girls walking to music. And they really make the presentation be the magic that it was. All of you, really, all the girls, Billie, you remember. Billie Blair, who is sitting there, actually started my segment, and it was sort of like a magician's story. And all these girls were magicians. They were really unbelievable. And at the very end of the show, there was a standing ovation because for the first time in Paris, they were looking at all these extraordinary girls moving in the most unbelievable way to extraordinary, wonderful music. Billie, don't cry, because then you're going to make me cry too. Stephen, what do you remember?
I just remember the sets didn't work, and we had to go with a bare stage. It turned out to be the greatest thing that ever happened to us. And the French throwing their programs in the air, I thought, oh God, what's wrong? But it was, they loved it, and that was the greatest moment I've had in my career was actually Versailles. It was a wonderful experience, and we won.
Would you like to?
Will anyone that wants to ask any questions?
It was normal.
You know,
Just normal. It was not.
you know, I have a big problem because, you know, I don't really like this attitude, you know, and it happens to me all the time when I am working and preparing shows that people come and tell me, oh, there is a beautiful black model that would you like to see her? They never tell me ever there is a beautiful white model, would you like to see her? I think that I would like to hear there is a great girl there, you like to see her. You know, I don't think that that the fact that Steve was there, he was there because he's black or because I am pink. He was there because he was a talented man. That's why we were there, not because of our color.
Thank you, John. I'm going to Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Emily Rafferty, president of the museum, and I want to thank you very much. Welcome everybody again to this wonderful luncheon. I'd like to acknowledge some of you who have actually worked so hard to make this happen, and we owe you exceptional thanks to our hosts. To Oscar and Stephen, of course, you are the very best, and I'd like to offer one large, additional, and well-deserved ovation to Oscar and Stephen. And bringing us along today, I'd like to add our thanks to Gail Perkins Atkins, Francisco Costa, Tom Fallon, Iman, Jane Holzer, Donna Karen, Carol Sutton-Lewis, David Mitas, B. Michael, Desiree Rogers, Audrey Smaltz, Lizzie Tisch, Isabel and Ruben Toledo, Veronica Webb, and Jason Wu. Thank you. We couldn't have done it without you. And unable to join us today, but sending his warmest congratulations to this day, is our Mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg. And he offered the following words, that nearly 4 decades ago, American and French designers, models, and fashion enthusiasts gathered for one of the most exciting fashion shows of the 20th century. 5 American designers impressed the French coutures at the Palace of Versailles by showcasing ingenuity and minimalism while utilizing models of various ethnicities. The moment was a triumph for our American fashion industry, and today's event is a terrific opportunity to recognize the accomplishments of all the designers and models of the 1973 show, as well as all of the members of our extraordinary fashion community. On behalf of our city, I am pleased to recognize all those in attendance today for their contribution to fashion, both throughout the 5 boroughs and far beyond. Please accept my best wishes for an enjoyable event. Sincerely, Michael Bloomberg, Mayor. New York City Council Speaker Christine Quinn and Manhattan Borough President Scott Stringer also prepared wonderful remarks, and for any of you who'd like to read them, they are right beside me here. And now I would like to ask, as I call your name, each of you to come forward. The Mayor's proclamation is here for you, but we'd like to have you each stand together and enjoy the applause and recognition you so well deserve. Billie Blair. Jennifer Brice, please come forward. Alva Chinn. Pat Cleveland. Norma Jean Darden, please come forward. Charlene Dash. Bethann Hardison. China Machado. And Amina Warsuma. To each and every one of you, congratulations. Thank you for joining us today and accepting these awards.
Thank you.
Thank you. And please stand up here so they can get a picture of you all together.
As we're taking photographs, we want to thank. I'm done with the photographs. Come. You're so funny. We want to thank the Metropolitan Museum, Tom Campbell, Emily Rafferty, Harold Coda, and Donna Williams. Thank you, Donna. We want to also thank Halston, Ann Klein, Bill Blass, Oscar De La Renta, and Stephen Burrows, who had the courage to go to Versailles and the belief that they needed us. Francois De La Renta, who had the vision, Eleanor Lambert, who lent the support, Joe Eula, Liza Minnelli, and the marvelous Kate Thompson. My fellow models were the key, and I am honored to be here with them. Thank you for all being here and sharing in this moment. And one thing I want to say that I know is personal, but I know I'm representing each and every one of the girls, is that truly the fashion model should never die because she's such an intricate part of fashion. When designers find a girl work for them and not with them, you're losing. We also want to tell you that it wasn't as easy as it all seems like when we were there that night. It was really, it was a few days of hard. It was like being on the road, you know, in a band with a small van and no food and people fighting. It was not easy. It was backstage, really. It was really a tough time, but we all want to say thank you very much because I know in my heart that we all know that without us, it wouldn't have been very much, but we really were very proud to be part of it, and we're very proud. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We wanted to add one more thing. There's a wonderful work of art in the Metropolitan Museum. It's behind me, beyond the Temple of Dendur, and it's a wonderful Vanderland panorama of Versailles. And anybody who would like to have a look after lunch, you're welcome to do so just through the door beyond. And again, thank you all. You can see the enthusiasm up here. We're so thrilled and honored to have gathered this distinguished group of ladies. And all of you, thank you.